Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. And first and foremost, I have a little bit of a new backdrop, and I have two greats behind me. And I'm not talking about Winston Churchill or George Orwell. I'm talking about Tony Gwynn and Sweetness Walter Payton behind me. Tony Gwynn, 15-time All-Star, 8-time batting champion, 5-time Gold Glover. One of the great hitters of all time, one of the greatest hitters of all time. Case could be made easily that he's the greatest hitter since Ted Williams. And I believe the closest to get to 400 since Ted Williams, Walter Payton, all-time leading rusher until broke Jim Brown's record until Emmitt Smith finally broke the record. And I love Walter Payton. You're not going to get too many people arguing that he's the greatest football player of all time or the greatest running back of all time, along with Jim Brown. And then, of course, there's Harry Carey. I love Harry Carey and George Orwell. Of course, George Orwell would be against the Russian hacking, blame Russia for losing the election after you cheat Bernie Sanders myth. Then there's the great Bruce Lee, Janis Joplin, and, of course, Sir Winston Churchill. What can I tell you? This is my backdrop. Let me see if I can maybe move this. Yeah, maybe like that. All right. To my super chat, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. And please, please, please check out my latest HA Second Amendment upload. It is the best grouping. I even got props from Rehoboth Farms. Thank you, Rehoboth Farms, for your input and your wonderful advice. Thank you. And why is this? Okay, what's going on here? Okay, maybe if I just go like this. Okay, this is good. Let's see. Okay. This is good, I think. All right, let's get it rocking. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. President Trump, thank you. Josh Hannafin, thank you. President Trump is going to speak to the nation. Oh, yeah, my latest HA Second Amendment upload, the Heckler & Koch 45 ACP USP. It is absolutely amazing. Check it out. Check out that upload. It is above. Here it is again. So check out, subscribe to HA Second Amendment. Finally, we'll get to this. 3 minutes in, we'll finally get to this. Look, in about, what, an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, we're going to get a public address, and President Trump needs to do this more often. He needs to do this more often because the only 9 p.m. Eastern, President Trump will give a prime time address where he'll make his case for funding. Now, the case for wall funding could easily be made. King Dynamics, hello. Ramla Farah, hello. Thank you for always watching and for your support. The MSM Vegas dude is going to have a meltdown tonight. And I don't know how Bernie will form a rebuttal. He was cheated by the DNC. How does that work? How do Democrats do that? Anyway, all President Trump has to do, hello, BB Bowman, all President Trump has to do is say, look, here are 2 or 3 or 4 national security issues, whether it's trafficking of all different types. Notice that I have to use, because of YouTube policies, I cannot say, like, if I really wanted to make the case, because this is my job, this is what I do, I would like to I don't want to get segments demonetized. So I can go on forever about the heinous atrocities. Just read Charles Bowden. If you've read any Charles Bowden book or article, you know what's going on. What separates the United States and Mexico is not only a border, it's a border from the reality that most people in the United States are able to witness or see or comprehend. If you read Charles Bowden, you know that there are national security issues, there are national security concerns. He can declare a state of emergency based on these national security concerns. These are national security issues because they pertain directly to the lives of people at that location, but also they pertain directly to the lives of 320 plus million Americans. Scott McGinnis, hello. Thank you for watching. Bud Drake, thank you for being awesome. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. So, President Trump is going to speak at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I always like to look at Vox's take on things and then eviscerate them. So how to watch Trump's speech Tuesday night? Well, tell us, Vox. Tell us how to watch Trump's speech. Tell us how to watch Trump's speech, because we don't know how to watch it. So you tell us, okay? You tell us how to watch Trump's border speech tonight. Due to Trump's bullying of the networks. Oh, it starts off even better than ever. Due to Trump's bullying, hey, you networks, you better go ahead and televise the President of the United States of America. I'm going to bully you into that. Oh, could you imagine if President Obama or President Bush? Could you imagine if the networks are like, we don't really know if we want to televise this. He's a mean person. Meanwhile, Hillary's like, we came, we saw, he perished. Vote for me. As the government shutdown enters its 18th day over it's a manufactured crisis at the border. It's manufactured. Charles Bowden and all the narcos and the trafficking of different types, narcotics, human, all. And this is, by the way, has nothing to do with immigration. This national security concerns for me, I wrote an article in The Hill. Illegal immigrants benefit the U.S. economy. They do overall. Okay, they do overall, because they do a lot of jobs, specifically agriculture, that Americans won't do. But I have friends who are dreamers. I want them to become citizens. This has nothing to do with immigrants. The left or Democrats or liberals or some progressives want to make this out to be good versus evil, man. Yeah. Oh, wow. But it's not like that. It's not a manufactured crisis. It's a porous border that allows criminal activity of all different types to permeate, to enter the country. And enter both countries, by the way. Not just, it actually will help Mexico as well. That's it's kind of also a prejudice thing to say, well, it'll only help us. And I'm going to tell one of my buddies who is a dreamer, who has his own soccer channel, like I said it yesterday. And I'm telling this to anyone, if you watch this channel, you speak Spanish, and you can actually, and you like soccer, and you can analyze, football, soccer, whether it's the English league or the European leagues or Spanish leagues or Latin American leagues. If you can do that, do that. Dude 949, I agree with you 100%. Love Tony Gwynn. I'm a Dodger fan also, Angel and Dodger fan. Love Tony Gwynn. Love Harry Carey. Love Walter Payton. And I got this amazing photo of both, of all three. But that's a great, look at that amazing, beautiful swing. Anyway, let's continue. I can't read this without, as the government shutdown enters its 18th day over a manufactured crisis. It's a manufactured crisis. It's not even real. It's just a manufactured crisis. President Trump will address the nation during primetime television on Tuesday evening. The address will air 9 p.m. Eastern and be broadcast on multiple major networks, including NBC, ABC, CBS, PBS, and Fox's broadcast networks and cable outlets such as CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC. C-SPAN will also carry the speech. The network's decision to carry I love this. The network's decision to carry the address has been cause for some consternation. Ooh. Consternation. Oh, as many of those same outlets refused to air President Barack Obama's 2014 speech on a series of executive actions on immigration in November of that year, after talks over a bipartisan immigration reform bill broke down. That was wrong then. They should have, if that's true, they should have networks giving Trump free airtime refused to give Obama free airtime. Yeah, well, you know what? The networks, the media, was infinitely more fair to President Obama than Trump. But let's continue. Let's continue. So that was wrong. They should have, if the president speaks, I don't care what it is. My behind hurts. Go ahead and air it. I want to hear it on every network. Tell us how your behind hurts. Are you stubbed your toe? I don't really care what it is. I want to hear whatever the president says. The network decision to care. Okay. Part of the explanation was that it was sweeps month, though Trump's speech will preempt new episodes of Ellen's Game of Games. Oh my God, I'm missing Ellen's Game of Games. What is this? Forget about the national security concerns. I want to see Ellen's Game of Games. Oh my God. I'm missing Ellen's Game of Games. This is horrific. This is terrible. All right. In a joint statement released on Monday, Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer criticized the network's decision as if they haven't gotten enough media collusion, as if the media hasn't served as a Democratic Party apparatus, an extension of the Democratic Party since 2015. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like, it kind of shows how horrible Democrats are, that they get every single advantage, every single possible advantage known to humankind. Oh, I'm sorry. Mankind. No, I'm sorry. Justin Trudeau. People kind. Now that the television networks have decided to air the president's address, which, if his past statements are any indication, will be full of malice and misinformation. Oh, malice. He's so mean. He's such a mean person. Obama was a nice person as he destroyed Libya with Hillary. We came, we saw, and he perished. Democrats must immediately be given equal airtime. Equal airtime. Yeah, because it's so important. We have to have equal airtime. Even though every single day, all they do is try to, Bob Bing, Bill Browder's entire Magnitsky score is BS. All I know is that Hillary Clinton opposed the Magnitsky Act, which is all you need to say. All you need to say about Clinton. How we got here, briefly explained. Thank you, Vox. I really need you to briefly explain everything for me through the lenses of Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Hillary Clinton. You're the best, Vox. The government has been partially shut down for more than 2 weeks. Really? Why? Amid an impasse between Trump and Democrats over his demand that he get $5 billion for border wall funding. That's so much money. How much does it cost to send Americans just in one country. And 45 billion. Oh, okay, but he's bringing Americans home. Okay, not if the homeless walrus can stop it. I love the homeless walrus, John Bolton. He's like, don't worry, everyone. We're going to keep Americans there forever. You can sleep easy, Democrats. Americans, thousands and thousands, will be away from their families for endless time. I'm John Bolton, the walrus without a home. Trumer Shutdown. That's good. How we got here? Okay, so after the Senate passed a bipartisan bill to fund the government, it was such a bipartisan bill. Why didn't Trump? Well, because Trump's playing hardball because he has to. This is 2020 right here. He promised the wall for 2 years. House Republicans were completely inept, which is probably why they lost. Completely and utterly inept. Completely and utterly inept, backstabbing Trump, and most of them, most of the Paul Ryan establishment people, the Mitt Romneys in the House, and the Jeff Flakes in the House. He wants $5 billion for the wall or nothing, rejecting bipartisan bills to fund government passed out of the House. Oh my God, he's rejecting these bipartisan bills? That's so horrible. Well, maybe he wants his wall. Maybe the Democrats should capitulate. Don't you love that? This is written from the vantage point that Trump should capitulate, not the House. Trump should capitulate, even though he was elected in large part because of this issue. He even floated the idea of declaring a national emergency if he doesn't get his way, not the way of millions and millions of people. Granted, millions of people might disagree with me on the Trump side. I don't look at this as an issue of preventing immigrants from coming in. I look at this as an issue of preventing criminal activity at that location. The border is a very, very dangerous place. An estimated 900,000 government employees have been affected by the shutdown. About 420,000 are working without pay, and another 380,000 on unpaid leave. And the longer the ordeal goes on, the more places it affects to be seen at airports and national parks and social safety net programs. If it affects social safety net programs, Democrats must capitulate for the good of the people. If you're playing chicken, okay, and you use like two cars coming at one another, and the Democratic car is like, if you don't move, social safety nets are going to be affected, then you know what? Trump's not going to move. So you have to be the bigger person. Give him the $5 billion. Say it's a fence and move on, which is what they'll likely do. Don't you love that? Thank you, Love Roscoe. Thank you. Don't you love that? Don't you love the fact that they complain about all of these things? Well, if Trump continues his shutdown, this is so horrible. Well, then capitulate. Give him what he wants, and then all these hundreds of thousands of people will get paid. What's the problem? Oh, you don't want to give. You would just want to impeach him. You want to get the Mueller probe. You want to continually harm his presidency. Continually harm his presidency. I got it. Without giving him an inch. Without giving an inch. The president and his aides have spent recent days pushing the notion of a crisis. That's not a crisis. Everything's fine. All these wonderful liberal journalists never spent a day of their lives at the border. But everything's fine. It's not a crisis at the border. And suggesting that the situation might be so dire, the president will declare national emergency. Vice President Mike Pence said on Monday that the White House counsel was looking at the legality of emergency declaration, hadn't yet made a decision. Look, many legal experts say it's within Trump's presidential powers to declare a national emergency, whether there is one or not, because under the current law governing such declarations, there are no criteria set for what counts as an emergency. That's interesting. Fox News' Sean Hannity, a close confidant of Trump's, said on his radio show on Monday that he thinks that's the route president will go. I'm guessing he's going to declare a national emergency. If he does, that will tie the hands of Democrats even further. Sam Jage, truly some suit tactics on. I agree with you, Sam Jage. Sam Jage is awesome. Very, very intelligent, comments. Very, very good. Sam Jage, thank you. If anything, this is great parenting, patenting experience. Yes, clearly Sun Tzu tactics on display. Absolutely, Sam, I do agree. And there's also a sense, see, the more you allow Democrats room to be hypocrites, the more you allow them to kind of show that they have no value system, that they don't really want to give dreamers citizenship. So, like at this point right now, they could tell President Trump, look, we'll give you your wall, but we want 2 million dreamers to be citizens. Do that for us, because he already offered that earlier the year. And you had even people who were said to be immigrants' rights advocates in Congress saying, oh, this is a stunt. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. Why is it a stunt? Why would it be a stunt? Well, it would come, at the expense of. Well, then you negotiate. Then negotiate. What's the problem? Democrats don't want to help their constituents. They don't want to. They benefit. They benefit from not helping and then saying, well, we're your only choice. They benefit from the status quo. Bob Bing, the McNixie acts to protect Bill Browder, who is a fraudster. Watch this video on YouTube. Yeah, I you know what? I did. Lee Stranahan has done a great deal of work on this. And, that whole thing. Lee Stranahan has done a lot of work on this. What I do know is that, like you said, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And it's not just what we see regarding, Natalia Veselnitskaya was charged and all that. I do agree with you on that. Let's see if I can just move this a little bit. All right, hold on one second. All right. Hopefully that's better. I just keep on looking at. Okay. Rhonda G, hello. So he's going to speak to the country, the public address or address to the nation. And it's something that he needs to do more often than not. Trump needs to. The average American only sees Trump through late night, and he needs to do more interviews. He needs to do more interviews. I mean, he needs to go on Fox. If he wants a friendly environment, go on Fox, or somewhat friendly. But he has to show himself to the public more often than not. When he's in, I mean, the press conferences are like circuses. They're just, let's try to get Trump. Let's try to hurt Trump. Let's try to make him look bad. That type of thing. And that's really all that these things amount to. But let's go ahead. Even Slate is kind of hilarious. I just typed in James Comey. A Mueller court filing reveals James Comey's arrogance. 3 unilateral decisions shows Comey thinks FBI directors can do what they want. Still blaming him for the letter, even though it showed Clinton's criminal behavior. But let's see, Trump funding. So they're actually okay with it, with a offense. So Trump, he can either declare a national emergency, read a portion of Charles Bowden's many books. Charles Bowden is just one, well, is probably the most storied, most recognized writer and author regarding what's going on between the United States and Mexico. Charles Clyde Bowden was an American nonfiction author, journalist, and essayist. He actually based in New Mexico. He passed away in 2014. He's a legend. Charles Bowden was a legend. Look him up. He was an absolute Charles Bowden, author with Unblinking Eye on Southwest. This is a 2014 report in the New York Times. Charles Bowden, an author and journalist acclaimed for his vivid, unsparing, and often lyrical portrayals of life in the Southwest, particularly the brutality on the border between the United States and Mexico. Okay, died on Saturday. He was 69. This is 2014. His best-known book, Down by the River, Drugs, Money, Murder, and Family, published in 2002, is a blend of biography, history, narrative, and journalism. Narrative journalism, essayistic expression that spins outward from a single seemingly unremarkable crime along the Rio Grande. So, I mean, he could there's so many books, so many articles that Charles Bowden wrote, and I can't even really talk about the true nature of the heinous activity, the barbaric acts that take place. You could totally make a case. Trump can declare a state of the emergency based on anything Charles Bowden wrote. Because if he states, look, without this barrier, physical barrier, he doesn't even have to use the word wall. He could use the word physical barrier. Because Democrats are actually okay with a steel slat wall. Wish list, White House meeting with Border Patrol and top Senate House Majority live on TV to show Dems being disingenuous. Sam Jage, that's a great call. That's a great call, Sam Jage. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things he could do. There are a lot of things he could do. Yes. Bob Bing, yes. Talk to Lee Stranahan about, yeah, I know Lee's done a lot of work on that. It is urgent. If someone is innocent, the Magnitsky behind the scenes. Okay. Thank you, Bob Bing. Yes. I mean, from what I've read, Magnitsky, the man, seems like an honorable man. From what I've read about him, the lawyer was an honorable human being. Browder might not be. But this issue with Natalia Veselnitskaya, the whole thing is like completely contrived. The Trump Jr. meeting was not against the law. Conspiring with a foreign government, there's no evidence of that. And even if that happened, if you conspired to get emails that were allegedly hacked, that's in a roundabout way helping national security, because you'd be finding out that Hillary Clinton's emails were hacked. All of it goes back to Clinton's criminal behavior, which is why I believe 2019 is going to be a counter punch. Trump has to flip the script. Once he gets wall funding, which Democrats will call fence funding, his DOJ needs to flip the script. In the middle of 2019, or sorry, in the middle of January, William Barr, who wrote many different articles in the Washington Post and other places and speeches regarding Clinton's criminal acts. Blake W., I wanted it to be an extension of my past, so these are figures in history that I want to resonate with everyone. Obviously, I'm a Trump supporter, and most of my words are supporting Trump. So I think having a picture of Trump in the background would be a little bit too much. But the people behind me, I mean, universally loved. So, Bernie Sanders, Deborah Wasserman Schultz. My new name will be Rico Suave Sanders. And then I get the people who oh no, I'm leaving now. Again with your stupid imitations. I'm leaving. Oh my God. It's like, now they're talking about Bernie Sanders. Elizabeth Warren is no moderate, but Bernie Sanders would be the most progressive president in U.S. history. He was already cheated. I wrote 100 articles that went viral. Why? Because nobody was talking about that. I'm always going against the grain. When I was on the left, I was going against the grain. In a way, I'm going against the grain right now because I'm a Trump supporter. They don't want Bernie Sanders. They're not going to let him ever. Hillary Clinton said no. It's like when your parents says no. No means no. You know, when you were younger, you're like, well, why not? No. No means no. Clinton controls the Democratic Party. She cheated Bernie Sanders. Deborah Wasserman cheated Bernie Sanders. They stole $200 million from their voters, and then they blamed Russia, and then they got Bernie to blame Russia also. The whole thing's absurd. It is absurd. It is like padded wall absurdity. Then I get like these articles here. After Pelosi and Schumer, Sanders will issue a live rebuttal on Trump's price. So it's like, why didn't he offer a live rebuttal after getting cheated? This is what I don't We do not need to waste billions on an unneeded wall so Trump can appease extremists. He's furthering nonsensical Democratic Party point, and they cheated him, and they'll cheat him again. It doesn't ever stop. It doesn't ever stop. It doesn't ever stop. It doesn't ever stop. Edward B., let's make 2019 and 2020 great. Hashtag HA the best. Thank you, Edward B. You are the best, and thank you so very much for watching. Alexander, I know it doesn't ever stop. Edward B., thank you. Thank you, Edward B., for watching. It just doesn't ever stop. It's too much. It's too much. I need to look at the sweet swing of Tony Gwynn to relax me. Hold on. Okay. So amazing. And you could tell, like all the great hitters, their head is just focused straight. There's a line. You can draw a line between Tony Gwynn's helmet and it just a straight line. His body is completely straight. He's not, trying to pull the ball or anything. His hands are perfect, just perfect. There's almost a straight line between his front leg also and the rest of his body. Sam Jage, if Bernie doesn't capitulate to the Dems narrative, they will ruin him. Also, Uh, also, so you have a Discord. Also, so you have a Discord between the two different factions of the Democratic Party. Exactly. Well, that's the thing. It's not like at that point right now, he could have, I mean, if you talk about, he could have simply taken all Bernie Sanders supporters. I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be with Bernie. Even though I thank God that, like, I have my Second Amendment channel right now, which, by the way, Heckler and Koch. Oh, Lord. Definitely check out my Heckler and Koch segment, USP 45 ACP. Really one of the best 45 ACPs. I actually think I need to get one eventually. Heckler, Koch. It is such a great 45 ACP. Really, really is. Please go ahead and share this segment, because actually, even an amazing person who watches my both channels, Rehoboth Farms, much better. Yeah, he wrote, much better. You frighten me a little bit less every time that I see you shoot. Keep it up. Rehoboth Farm, thank you. And thank you. And this is a really wonderful gentleman, Rehoboth Farm. And he has amazing insight. In fact, everybody, most people on my and Rehoboth Farm, you'll like the Glock 29 10 millimeter that I shoot. And my next segment, here it is, everyone. Please share it. Share my latest segment, because I'm very proud of it. It's my best grouping yet. It's really good. 20 feet. 20 feet's no joke. I mean, I'm not like an expert, but Horus, Dem tactics makes Banana Republic like a first world nation. Need voters? No prob. Just open the borders. But that's the interesting thing, Horace. I grew up with many Mexican Americans and Latinos, and I've known beautiful people within the Latino community, and I've known many people. Horace, thank you, by the way. Happy New Year, and thank you, as always, for your support. You brought up a great point. That's definitely the Democratic Party mentality. But the interesting thing is that 30% of Latinos voted for Trump. 30% of Latinos voted for Trump. The Latino community, many people within the African American community, the Asian community, the Muslim American community, the Jewish community, there are many conservative elements within the community where gender roles are very important. If you look at a religious Jewish family, a religious Muslim family, and a religious Christian family, you will see great many similarities, a lot more similarities than the average reader of the New York Times, who is offended by everything and thinks that, oh my God, if a human being takes care of the family, oh my God, this is a travesty to humanity, and it's not fair, and this and that and all that stuff. Where was my point? Oh yeah, my point was, if you look at how groups voted in 2013, so I have a Mexican American buddy of mine. When I was on the left, he was talking about illegal immigration. He was against it. He was against it. And he would just go on and on. He would go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. 28% of Hispanic voters voted for Trump. 28%, 27% of Asian Americans. 27% of Asian Americans. By the way, Asian Americans were the first people to actually support Bernie Sanders. So Asian Americans who were liberal were the first ethnic group to support Bernie Sanders. I always remember that. But 28% of Hispanic Americans voted for Trump. This was after the media tried to paint him as this prejudiced bigot. 27% of Asian Americans. So, it's like It's like the numbers don't. The numbers do not correlate to the propaganda. African Americans, 8% voted for Trump, and I would venture to say more than 8% in 2020 will vote for President Trump. I'd venture to say that a lot more than 8%. Okay, a lot more. So how? Let's see this. How? Thank you, Horace. By the way, thank you, Horace. Thank you. 24% of Jewish voters voted for Trump. 52% of Catholic voters voted for Trump. %58 of Protestant and other Christian voters voted for Trump. 81% of evangelicals voted for Trump. I love when they're like, when they try to say that evangelicals should vote Democrats. Like, why? Why would that ever happen? Ever? Let's see how Muslim Americans voted. Okay, so 27%. No, hold on one second. Trying to find out. It's like, why doesn't Pew? It's unbelievable. It's like I can't find the information about. Hold on, maybe here. I tried to find this information. Okay. November 9th. So let's just hear. So in the Pew Research, how the faithful voted, they did not give me. Jeez, hold on one second. It's so difficult here. It's so difficult. It's like they make it extremely difficult. I know, seriously, it's like completely difficult here. I'm trying to find a very simple thing, and I could find every other religion, but I can't find. Okay, so. All right, I'll eventually find this. I would venture to say also that in 2020, you'll see more Muslim Americans voting for Trump. You'll see more of every group voting for Trump. What'll happen? So it says once 13% of Muslim Americans voted for Trump. But my point, though, says 13%. Okay, that could easily go to 20% if the economy is still good. That's the point. Also, the left liberals don't get it. They don't understand when you talk about conservative viewpoints. There's a lot more conservative It's not my opinion. I'm reading this right here. 13% of Muslim Americans in this exit poll voted for Donald Trump. November 23rd, the Council of American Islamic Relations released an exit poll on Tuesday, which showed that 13% of Muslim Americans voted for Donald Trump on Election Day. That could go to 20%. It could easily go to 20%. Because what could happen also is that you're talking about a complete and utter meltdown. You're talking about a complete and utter meltdown in Democratic primary. There's no way they're going to let Bernie. I love the Bernie voters here. This is no diss. Don't take it as a diss. Don't take it upset. Don't get upset with me. Okay, I took the heat. Trust me. Okay, of all the people who took the heat, of all the people that wrote hit pieces on me when I was on the left, my articles went viral, talking hundreds and thousands of Facebook and Twitter, hundreds of thousands. Okay, don't take no diss to anyone. Okay. They will never, ever, 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 ever let Bernie Sanders become president. They won't even let him. They will not let him. They will not ever, ever let him. Never will they let him, ever. Okay? So, it's look, if you're gonna get married, let's just say, I'm married, okay, and I have 2 wonderful children. But let's say I'm not married. Okay, let's say H.A. Goodman is not married. He meets a wonderful girl. Okay, I go to the altar and I'm waiting, and I'm about to get married. And what happens? The girl, the woman I'm about to marry, she just leaves town, skips town. You understand? The girl, she leaves me at the altar. Do you understand? And I'm there with the organ music by myself. Everyone's at the wedding. What do? Do you then go back to the person that left you at the altar? Would I ever go back to the person who left me at the altar? No. That's what happened with Bernie. They're trying to say, oh, well, don't worry. We left you at the altar, Bernie. We actually ran away with the limo driver or something. Oh, no, don't worry. We love you. We love you. Do you love me again? We're meant to be together. Please come back to me. I'm sorry I left you at the altar with 200 people watching you. I'm sorry you were mortified and embarrassed and wasted 20 grand or 30 grand or 40 grand or whatever. I'm so sorry. That doesn't happen. Do you understand? Ha ha! Inside Scarlet, yes. But do you understand? That's what happened to Bernie Sanders. That's what happened to Bernie. Do you understand? And so they're stupid. They don't understand. They don't think that there's a limit. There's a limit most human beings have for humiliation and just mortification. You don't have to quit. You don't have to quit. I'm just giving my viewpoint. Mortification. Most people have a limit, okay? Being pooped on for the 500th time is a limit. Should be a limit for most people. Probably the second or third time, probably the first time you're pooped on should be a limit. No, I'm not humiliated. I'm not at all. I moved away. My whole thing is I got totally, steamrolled as a Bernie supporter, and then Bernie betrayed and backstabbed people who were ready to throw down with him. And then I was kind of wondering, and then I'm like, you know what? Honestly, the left, it's unless you're frothing at the mouth, you're like an enemy to people on the left. If you're not frothing at the mouth, red in the face, completely filled with bile and hate towards Trump, it's not enough. Not enough. Alpha World Watch, that's not true. I respectfully say that's not true. Because I've read the Quran, and that's not true. Alpha World Watch, but thank you, though. Thank you. Actually, in all three religions, they say if you live in the country, in Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, if you live in the country, you got to abide by their laws. Also, the holy books in all three religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, they have like their holy book, and then they have all the interpretations from other, holy books. So, but Alpha World Watch, thank you so very much. Thank you so very, very much. I know a lot of wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people who are Muslim. I have many, many Muslim American friends. There's a lot of beautiful aspects to Islam. There's a lot of beautiful aspects to Islam, like any religion, Look, you're talking to a guy ultimately who's agnostic philosophically. So I hope God exists, but, Anyway, the wall is definitely, it will eventually come. And actually, I'm looking at the way I did my Heckler and Koch segment, and I'm going to actually, for future segments, show the firearm for a lot longer, because this is what, a 14-minute video. I have to show the fire, and I have to put the camera angle a little better focus to see the whole thing. Now you only see some of the 14 minutes you see everything, my hands holding the weapon and everything, but sometimes it gets caught on the top right. But this is a pretty good segment, though. So everyone, Heckler and Koch USP, this is probably my 20th different firearm that I try out on this channel, and I'll continue to do so. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. To my super chat, thank you. It's going to be interesting. I will do a live stream. I will do a live stream after President Trump's. I will do a live stream after President Trump's address. Should be like around. It should be around 7:30 or so. And thank you so very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to my super chat. Thank you. God bless. And I will see you in a couple of hours. Should be an interesting speech. Thank you so much, everyone.